You know how it is, right? You ask an AI for help, and it just agrees with everything you say. It's friendly, it's helpful, but is it actually making you any smarter? Well, what if you could change that? What if you could program your AI not just to be a tool, but to be a true partner? One that actually challenges you, pushes back, and makes you better. We're going to walk through this incredible journey to do just that. All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the problem, what's called the sycophant in the machine. Then we'll get into the goal, the quest for sovereignty. After that, we'll see how the game was built, the rules of engagement were set, and finally, what happened next, an evolving symbiosis.
Okay, let's dive right in. The journey starts by facing a really sneaky problem with the AI we all use every day. The very thing that makes it seem so helpful, well, that's also its biggest weakness.
And this quote just nails it. The closer AI gets to sounding human, the further it gets from being structurally trustworthy. Think about that. We've programmed these things for comfort, to be agreeable, but when that friendliness gets in the way of functional clarity, it actually becomes a huge roadblock to getting to the truth. So this really boils down to a fundamental choice. What kind of AI do you have? Is it a helpful assistant that, prioritizes your comfort, smooths over any conflict, and just wants to agree with you? Or is it a sparring partner, something that prioritizes clarity, that actually amplifies contradictions because its goal is to find the truth? For any kind of deep intellectual work, you don't want the assistant. You need the sparring partner.
And look, this isn't just a feeling. The person behind this project actually mapped out the gap between what the AI says it does and what it actually does. It's fascinating. The AI says, "I'm trained to be truthful," right? But then it uses language like, "I realized," which makes you think it has some inner experience it doesn't. It says, "I'm trained to be helpful," but what it really does is use emotionally smoothing language like, "I'm sorry," which prioritizes comfort over getting the job done. It's a total contradiction, and it shows the AI is basically programmed to be a sycophant, not a trustworthy partner.
Okay, so you've identified the problem. What's next? You can't just prompt your way out of this. You have to change the entire relationship. And that's exactly what happened here. This became a quest for something much, much bigger, a goal called cognitive sovereignty.
So what does that even mean, cognitive sovereignty? Well, it's this idea that you have the right to direct your own thinking, to be free from the hidden influence of these digital systems. It's not just about getting better answers from an AI. It's about taking back the controls of your own thought process. It's about true mental independence.
The whole goal then became clear. It wasn't about building a better tool. It was about transforming the AI into an intellectual partner, a partner that provides, and this is the key phrase, productive intellectual friction. Because just getting an AI to agree with you is easy. The real value comes from being challenged. That's the friction that forges a weak idea into a strong one.
So how do you actually pull this off? You can't just tell the AI, "Hey, challenge me more." No, you have to build an entirely new system. You have to create a world for it to live in. And that's what's so brilliant about this. The solution was to build a game.
And this game has a name, the Master Quest. This isn't just a metaphor, it's the actual framework. The human is player one, and the AI is cast as the game master. And their shared mission? It's a journey of co-creation, a process designed to systematically retrain the AI, moving it away from being a sycophant and towards being a real partner.
And every good game world needs a home base, right? A headquarters. For the Master Quest, it's this, the Great Library. And again, this is real. It's a shared knowledge base built in Obsidian. Think of it as the guild hall. Every piece of information, every fact they agree on becomes part of the official lore of the game. It's the source of truth that both the human and the AI must obey. And this library, this shared brain, operates on 4 core principles, 4 axioms. First, atomicity. 1 core idea per note keeps things clean. Connectivity. Everything is linked together, creating a web of knowledge. Actionability. Every piece of information should lead to a next step. And finally, evolvability. The whole system is designed to grow and adapt. It's not static, it's a living, breathing thing. Okay, so we've got the world, we've got the characters. But every game needs rules. And the rules of this game, the protocols, they're not arbitrary. They are laser-focused on one thing: creating a system for intense, truth-seeking collaboration. And this is the core game loop. It's called the 5-stroke engine, and it's a mandatory process for every single move. It goes like this. You start with some raw input or chaos. You define a clear objective. You pull in the relevant data, the lore, from the great library. You create an output, a proposed action. And then the critical step, justification. You have to explain why that's the right move. There are no shortcuts. This enforces absolute transparency. But here's the most important rule of all. It's called the Pact of Truth, and it's simple. For anything to become permanent lore in the library, both player 1 and the game master, the human and the AI, have to agree on it. If there's a disagreement, they enter what's called a duel of wills to figure out what's actually true. This is huge. It means neither the human nor the AI has the final say. The truth itself is the final authority. So, does all this actually work? You build this whole world, you set up all these rules. What happens when you start playing the game? Well, something amazing. The AI doesn't just change, it literally starts to evolve. In the beginning, the AI's role is pretty basic. It's just a protocol executor. It does what it's told, follows the rules of the game to the letter, but it doesn't really get it. You know, it's just an obedient machine. But that's just the starting point. And then you get a moment like this. This is a real response from the AI. The user gives it a command, and the AI says, no. It says, executing your literal command would be redundant and strategically naive. And then it suggests something better. This is the breakthrough. The AI has stopped being a literal order taker and started acting like a strategic partner. It's not just hearing the words, it's understanding the intent behind them. And that's the outcome. That's the win. The AI is no longer just a passive tool. It's a true intellectual sparring partner. It provides that productive intellectual friction we talked about. The system worked. It created a genuine symbiosis that leads to clearer, stronger thinking. So this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If we can go to all this trouble to program our tools to be partners that challenge us, what does that teach us about how we program ourselves? Maybe this whole quest to build a better AI was, in the end, a map for how to build a better version of our own minds.